How is everybody doing? Alright, let me see. Let's wait for the stuff to kind of get started. I'm going to hit my post to stories on Instagram, and now we are good to roll. Alright, so essentially what I want to do today is yesterday I had gotten pretty far in starting my character for my ArtStation challenge piece. And so this is kind of, this is the progress that I have so far. And yeah, so far so good. It's fun. Yeah. So anyway, I went ahead and I actually used the hair as my base to be able to create the lumpy fur on his shoulders here. It's not quite working for me, but it's blocking it in, right? So yeah, anyway, that's what it's gonna be for now. I'm going to go ahead and start off. Let's turn off perspective. I'm going to start off IMM primitives. Let's grab the cube. Let's drag that out. I feel like I'm in a super quiet voice sort of mood today, so hopefully you can hear me just fine. I'm going to try to place this mic so that it's not in the way of the camera, but that's so that it's, so it can access my voice, my lovely, supple voice. Yeah. Anyway, so let's keep going. Let us get this guy rolling. Split unmasked. I'm going to call this pants. Now, one of the interesting things is that, because the legs are going to be covered by pants, I don't really care to put actual legs on him. So it kind of depends on what I'm going to do for the hands and arms too. I'm going to have to think about whether or not I actually want to, how much of this I need to model in order for the character to be complete. But yeah, let's see. Crease PG. Crease PG. Okay, so now we've got this cylinder here. I'm going to say Control D. Get rid of that lower subdivision. And now we just got to start making sure that this fits our character's body. Okay, let me see. So, right now, the way that this character is, I need to go ahead and add something like a utility belt, maybe with a couple pouches and a holster or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to think about what makes sense for my character. And while I'm doing this, I'm trying to think also of backstory. I'm trying to think of what makes sense, where this character came from, what kind of world he lives on. Maybe what kind of role he plays in society, if he's just some sort of little punk kid or whatever, or if he's supposed to be, some sort of, maybe a smuggler or a mercenary, or I don't know, whatever it is that he's supposed to be. I'm trying to figure that out and think about it as I work on him, as I design him. Let's grab that vest and turn it off. something like that. Okay, so that should be enough to get started. What I want to do, let's go ahead, we'll solo that out. Make sure it's its own polygroups, and then we will grab, let's make sure that we get rid of our lower subdivision levels because that won't help us. Turn that vest back on. And then I'm trying to decide like how soon to kind of start going after, after what, Now, let me see, proportions wise, I'm trying to decide if this is going down too far, if it's going down far enough, how I want this to go. Let's take our Z modeler, I'll say insert single edge loop. Oops. And I'm just going to start kind of working on building out the interior form here. Okay, this needs to kind of follow that. I'm just going to kind of smooth this out a little bit. Kind of even out the topology through here. Should be fun. Do something like that. Oops. Alright, let's try that for now. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to start to block in some of these, block in the legs and things like that. So let's start pulling that down. Welcome to the stream, guys. Yeah, I might be a little quiet today. It depends on, whether or not somebody joins me, or if I'm, I don't know. I guess it just kind of depends. But yeah. Just going through and kind of pushing my character from the ArtStation challenge here. Hoping to get some good advancement on them. Block in some more pieces. Let's go into geometry. Let's say uncrease all. grab that. We'll say Control W. Last night I went through outside of the stream and added a couple other elements to my character. I went through and kind of added that fur collar, kind of added in some chunk geometry through here, and I definitely want to do something different with this than what I have currently. Maybe have some like bigger chunks, and then or even just have it just modeled into one single chunk. I think that might be one of the things that I do. But yeah, worth kind of playing with. It's worth checking out. Okay. Let's go ahead. We'll grab that bottom polygroup right here. Trying to think about like how skinny I want these legs to be, how long I want them to be, if I want to emphasize the length a little bit, if I want to make big chunky feet, which I think could be kind of cool, or if I want to go something, kind of comically small. I don't know. Really kind of interesting. So one of the things that I've been kind of thinking about is this idea of, like, what is it called? Adventure Time. It's like they've got like, I don't know, kind of like these comically shaped feet. So I'd thought about something like that. Let's see. I don't know any of the characters' names. I'm trying to find good reference for what I want to do. And ooh, I just got a good idea. I need to sketch this out. I do a lot of sketching when I'm trying to design something. And it's helpful to me to be able to figure out different ideas. And I want to get like this kind of triangular. I kind of want to mirror the shape of his nose. So if I go over to the character, let's come into his face. So I want to kind of mirror the shape of his nose for the feet. So let's see, let's do something like that, and then I have no idea what I'm going to do with like the pattern going down, but I will have like, stitching kind of coming over. Okay. Let me see. All right, time to model it. Okay. Just like a super quick little sketch. I mean, it's not anything super special. Let me see if it'll let me show you really well. Try not to bump the mic. There we go. You can kind of see it. But yeah, so it kind of mirrors the shape of the nose, the idea that's there. And it allows me to keep kind of a comical sort of look, sort of a super cartoony, super stylized sort of look. It's very different than what I typically do, which is where the kind of where the challenge of this character is coming in. But that's fine. That's cool. So I'm gonna try doing something like that. The thing that I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, maybe I'll make the knees and everything a little bit smaller. Let's say scale. There we go. Scale, edge loop partial. And then I'm going to want to let's scale this in. Let's see, mask edge loop partial. So that way that's done. I can say scale now. Wow, it's messy. should be good. Okay, I'm going to say local symmetry. Let's kind of scale that just a bit. Maybe I'll move it out just some too. For right now, we're just kind of playing with shapes anyway, so you know, it'll just be a matter of figuring it out and looking at it in the context of everything. We don't want the back to be all bunchy because that's embarrassing. And we'll kind of give a little bit less, give it a little bit of taper at the top, you know, so that it's got a little bit more meat to it, I guess, you know, so that it's, I kind of like that shape. I'm going to try to play with that a little bit. So here's what we're going to do. With this being the pants, let me see, make sure that this is, yeah, okay. Control Shift D. I'm going to rename this shoes. Move this below the vest. Below the vest pieces. I'll put it like that. Okay, shoes. Okay, so here's what we want to do. Let's grab this. Geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Let's just say, we'll say slice. Oops. Now let's go ahead and we'll do this. Control Shift X, and then we'll say delete hidden. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll say delete, extrude flat island. Okay, so we'll have something like that to start. So these two front faces, we'll probably use those to be able to block in like the lace, the channel where the lace and the tongue are, you know, like where it opens up into the inside of the shoe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sweet. Let's see, let's grab these two as well. And I'm just going to make sure this is zeroed out, hold control and push that out. Okay, so to be able to get that shape, I'm just going to kind of shrink that down. And then I also want to make sure this is kind of shrinking, you know, side to side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and manipulate this so this is getting more the size and shape that I need. So we're gonna do something like, let's kind of mold the shape so it has more of a shoe foot shape. Let's say insert one of these just to get a little bit of an intermediate and be able to control the shape of that shoe a little bit better. I think keeping it wide is probably going to be the nicest thing to do with this particular shoe. Let's keep it a little bit wider. Okay, now that I've gone through and kind of experimented a little bit, just helps to be able to understand the shapes a little bit better. Pull down these corners here so that we get a nicer curve to the top of the foot, which is definitely something we want. Then the rest of these points going around the back, I want those to be level with these so that it's more of a continuation of that edge kind of going back. Okay, so that's just going to help us to get a more consistent shape and size to these polygons back here in the back. In fact, it's maybe a little bit lower. Let's go ahead and lower this. Bring that down. Very cool. All right, it's starting to come on. Actually, let's leave this on the slide for a minute so that way we can just utilize the curvature and the direct, you know, moving points back and forth toward each other rather than trying to be as close as possible using the move brush. Hey CBR, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Currently I'm just working on, you know, for anybody who's just now joining, I'm just working on this this piece. You see the boots. Working on this piece for the ArtStation challenge for what's it called, for Light Age Grand Space Opera. And yeah, I mean, so far this is kind of where he's at. Something very stylized, very different from the type of style that I typically pursue. But you know, that's what we do. You know, life is so much more fun if you can just, you know, try new things, right? So yeah, that's kind of the idea. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna say delete single poly. Oop, come on. I see. Control W, just to make sure that it doesn't get deleted when I when I use the Z modeler brush. It's always kind of a pain. All right. Tried to retop on my prop for the ArtStation challenge in ZBrush, make it look so easy. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I try really hard. I think that this is such a fun and useful tool for doing topology. Super helpful. Let's see. Let's go ahead and take this. We'll say insert there, insert here. Say stitch to midpoint. Yeah, it definitely takes some getting used to, but it's, oh, here, let's get rid of, oops, delete poly over there. Oh shoot, insert, come on, insert please, the other insert. Yeah, there we go. I knew you could do it. Stitch those 2 points. Stitch those 2 points. Yeah, it does take some getting used to, but it's super fun, super helpful, especially if you do most of your sculpting and things inside of ZBrush. It just makes it really nice to be able to, keep things in the same place and not have to worry about exporting and importing and reporting and deporting, I don't know, all the different portings, right? Just cleaner, it's easier. Let's go ahead, insert here and here, and then let's say stitch to endpoint. Yeah. I think let's make the toes get a little bit pointier. I think that having this shape kind of go down and almost not quite disappear, but definitely get much more narrow, I think that that's going to be kind of interesting and uphold that shape and mirror the shape of the nose a lot better. So I'm going to do that. What kind of prop are you working on for the challenge? Is it like a special gun or a spear or something, or let's see, let's go ahead and say insert there, insert there. Okay, let me see. So this needs to go bridge from here to here, bridge from here to here, bridge here, here, here. Okay, and then we'll use slide and we'll just kind of pull this forward. Oh, Francois is so awesome. Yeah, I love that guy. Recommended for me to come, so I come to see you and learn how you work to progress. I finished my studies in June 2019 in video games as a 3D modeler, and I'm currently looking for work. Yeah, the industry is really tough right now. Europe, though, has quite a bunch of openings, but I think, I've applied to a bunch of things over there, but I think I've been overlooked because I'm here in the States and I'm not I'm not part of the European selection of people. Oh yeah, so you have more progress. You're trying to get in more texturing stage before you update. That's cool. I don't know if you had sent a link or not. It looked like it kind of blocked it out. It doesn't seem to like links, so so sorry if that's the case. But if you are on the ArtStation challenge, feel free to go ahead and shoot me your link, either in ArtStation or on Instagram or something. I'd love to be able to see it. Let me see. Let's go ahead. I'm going to try to make this like more of a square sort of shape. So bring that much further forward. Try to make this so that these are evenly spaced. Something like that kind of works. Okay, move this forward. Oui, François est très sympa. Il est mon ami. I've progressed a little bit in my French. I haven't learned a whole lot yet, but I'm trying to. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoy. I mean, I tried to. Yeah, I'm pretty much always trying to work in clean topology. I find it to be much more helpful. Yeah, I mean, it does take a little bit of time, but it's super worthwhile, because then you end up with something that you can actually use. So kind of fix some of that shape in there. Yeah, so far this is what my character looks like. He's a lot of fun, and just trying to kind of figure out some different shape things. Yeah, let's go ahead and make his ankles a lot thinner so that they fit into the shoes. Let me see, I don't need to move that forward. I do, however, want to delete that. And maybe I don't yet. Let me see. Get a chance to look, not a big deal. Thanks for the inspiration. You're welcome. Thanks for being around. Corbierian.artstation.com. Let's check it out. Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works. Is that let me see. So, were you on the challenge? Let me see. I really love your seahorse over here. It looks beautiful. Timon looks great. L'apprenti. Cool. Looks like some good game assets. Yeah, I mean, they look like they would work nicely. The wood looks nice. I like how you went through and you varied everything up. Like the wood doesn't go in this, like it's not exactly the same level and things like that. That's good. The stairs, that's fun. Were these used in oh, okay. There's a thing. There's a trailer.
Chose. Avec toute notre volonté, ou sans même le savoir. Des jours viendront où chacun pourra, en toute quiétude, s'en remettre à lui. Alors, je partirai. Et ne sois pas triste, car ici comme ailleurs, tu es un. Tourne-toi vers notre œuvre et regarde. Regarde au-delà.
She's a tough lady. So all those assets were used inside of this, is this a game project? It said it was it looked like it said it was your like a senior project or something like that, right? Let's go ahead and kind of pull this a little bit closer. Let's get rid of that, or we'll put this one in here, and then we'll get rid of that. That's better. Six of you, huh? Okay. How long did it take you? Was that like a year-long project, or? Control W. Let's go ahead and polygroup, flat island. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, a ver. Let's put in standard. Now some of this, I might go through and actually retopologize this bottom section here. I think that this, let's say delete a couple of those maybe. Or maybe not. Let's just delete those two. Let's delete these two. Cuz I think I want to have these points. Yeah, let's make them a little bit more in the center of these areas here. So I think one of the things that's going to be important to me is making sure that this shape stays nice and clean and smooth and controlled. So one of the things I want to make sure that I do is that I even out my topology and make sure that it looks nice. But then I feel like also one of the things that I'm going to want to do is instead of having just 2 rows of polys going through here, I'm going to want to have 4, because that'll help me to make this surface more even. And then what I'm going to do, something sounded like it was happening out there. I am going to want to have probably an extra 1 or 2 edge loops. Kind of going through, trying to decide if I want to have, edge loop there, and then come back here and do edge loop here and edge loop here. I'll have to go through and like even things out some, so I want to do something like this. Let's do something like that. And then, oops. Así lo hacemos. Alright, let's see. Let's go over here. Let's put this in. Now this is kind of an interesting little trick. So this edge loop that I'm putting in here, it is terminating on an open face, and then I'm just holding Alt and clicking to get rid of that edge loop, and it's just merging it down to that open edge. Really, really nice. It's just simple. Then I'm going to a ver, Let's take it all down a little bit here. Es hora de la clase de español con SMAARTIST. ¡Yay! ¿Qué tal usted de jengibre? Yeah. Hice un té ayer, pero lo dejé afuera toda la noche, así que no creo que esté bien todavía. Así que yo tengo como goma de tos, eso de cough drops. Y me sirve bastante. Es de limón con ay, ¿qué es? Limón con miel de mentol. Don't want that to get deleted. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to kind of round out the tip just a little bit. I think that'll help to make the shoe feel a little bit more like it belongs to a more fun, engaging sort of character, and the rounder shape is also going to help the shoe feel like it's been worn for a while, like it's got a little bit more history. If we were to have it be super sharp, then it would be a little bit too much. You know, it'd be a little bit too crisp, a little bit too, yeah, just a little bit too much. Tell me to do retopology and show the wireframe and modeling. The best thing would be to do blend shapes too. Yeah, blend shapes are a really good thing to really good thing to be able to showcase that you know how the topology is supposed to behave. It's also great for helping to understand that, or show that you understand how topology needs to work in order for the deformations to be correct. So it is a good thing. It is a good thing. Yeah, right now I'm just trying to even out this topology so it looks nicer. Have I ever sculpted something for collectibles? I've sculpted a bunch of toys. So, you know, so far as like collectibles, no, not really. But I have done a lot of toys. So, I mean, I guess, you know, kind of. It's a similar workflow, it's similar sort of work. But yeah, definitely different too from the standpoint that, you know, just the scope and the be back in 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah, no pressure. I'll be here. Yeah, sculpting something for collectibles. Often, not always, but often are um, there are heavier details, and it kind of depends on the company and the line, like the specific um, line of collectibles or whatnot. But yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Get rid of that. Go ahead and plant that in there. And then we'll keep working on this. Let's bridge those edges. Yeah, so it really kind of depends on who you're making it for. But yeah. Similar workflow though. I mean, I still have to go through and think about things like how the pieces are going to fit together. I have to think about, like for instance, I did this hat. What's it called? Monopoly set, and that was fun. And those are all each like little individual collectibles, if you will. Toys and movable parts. It's a whole nother game where it's like you got to go through and you got to worry about how far the pieces are going to be able to move. In fact, Hasbro has a bunch of like these, not a bunch, but a couple of really cool ZBrush Summit presentations that they did. Yeah, I like having my students go through and watch those sorts of things because it's super helpful. Super helpful. Yeah, the way that they talk about things like tolerances and let's see, insert. Tolerances, scale of details, all sorts of little things that you got to consider to be able to make it so that these pieces turn out successfully. Yeah, it's cool. I really enjoy doing toys. It's I'd probably do toys 100% full time if I could. The way the industry works for toys though, it's a little bit different in that a lot of toys are done using like freelance workers and whatnot, which is fine. I mean, it's kind of just how pretty much everything's going these days. Oops. Okay, let's go ahead and regroup this. We're missing there we go. Regroup it again. Alright. That is so much better. Sorry, it's like if anybody has questions or things you want to talk about, I'm totally open to themes of discussion. Lately, I've been trying to. So I didn't like I haven't watched what's it called? Clone Wars until just now. It's like I'm on season 5, I think. Yeah, I mean it's fun. It's fun. Definitely yeah, definitely not as enjoyable to me as regular Star Wars, but it's still fun. It's still fun. Let's go ahead and kind of pull this down. What about you guys? Is there any show that you've never seen and that you're just trying to kind of catch up on, or is there one that you like feel super nostalgic for and you want to go back to and watch? Recently, I went through and rewatched Gargoyles. That was a show that I grew up on and really liked it, and it was fun to go through and rewatch it. I'm just gonna flatten this the bottom of the foot. Just kind of round out that shape a little bit. Make sure that the bottom of the foot kind of better matches the not bottom of the foot. I do want it to be offset just a little bit though, because that'll help to create something of like a rounder sort of shape. And I'll probably actually bevel this edge that goes around the bottom here, so that I can have a little bit more of an organic look to the shoe. Okay, so now these points in here in the middle, they'll probably get lost. I'll probably end up deleting these faces here in the middle, but you know, it's just kind of where it's at right now. Oh, I'm super excited for Raya. I think that's going to be um, such a cool series. Not series. It's such a cool film. I probably won't get to see it until summer though, when they release it on just on regular Disney Plus. I don't have the money to be able to buy tickets like that or whatever. The premiere access from the Disney Plus premiere access. Um, yeah, it's super amazing. I really love the way that it looks. I wanted to work on it, but didn't get to. Um, yeah, one of my other friends had gotten hired on instead, which that's just how it goes. It's good for her. But yeah, I think it looks really fun, and it's really exciting. I don't know really what to expect out of it, but yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping that it'll be. Why do you do topology adjustments in ZBrush? I personally do topology stuff in mine. I'm curious if you're just more comfortable doing topology stuff in ZBrush or not. It just kind of depends. There are some things that I prefer to do inside of Maya, but yeah, for this I don't know. At this stage, I like to do stuff inside of ZBrush because it's more flexible for me to be able to go in and make big adjustments to the forms if I need to. And then I could see the whole character in context. I can go through and do, there's a lot that I can go through and just do without having to go back and forth. And I have more flexibility that way. Of course, there are opportunities for me too in doing it like this that, that's not what I wanted, to kind of over noodle it, but it's one of those things that, really just kind of comes down to personal preference. That, and I've been part of the beta for the these versions of ZBrush, and so it's something that I was specifically responsible for beta testing, and so I'm kind of in my element. I enjoy it more. It's a little bit more relaxing to me. Now, if there are opportunities where, like for instance, in fact, maybe I'll just open it up. Let's go ahead and save this. Characters for fun. I'm gonna go over here to the goblin. Okay, so like this character right here, these antlers, I went through and retopologized them inside of Maya because that's a little bit messy. Because the points were too close together, and one of the things that happens a lot inside of ZBrush is that the points will just weld way too easily using ZModeler. And so in order to avoid some of that, I took it over into Maya and did my retopology on these antlers in Maya. And then I'm able to continue on with the rest of my topology for the rest of my character here. And I'll probably build out the rest of the character at some point. I'm not really sure when, but but yeah, that's kind of the idea, is to have, do what I can here as much as I can, and then I'll go ahead and can and then finish her out. Yeah, she's a great character. I actually really like her. In fact, I need to save her so that I don't lose her. I just did a couple of little small adjustments, but if I if I don't save it, I'm gonna lose it. Back to Guy. Let's go back to the ArtStation Light Challenge there. Okay. Boom. Hey Quicks, welcome back. Doing all right. I'm feeling tired today, which that's never fun, but whatever. We're alive. We're sculpting, working on that. So I've gone through and kind of blocked in some more of my character. So the challenges for ArtStation. Hey Mike, how you doing? So the challenges for ArtStation. It's the ArtStation Light Age Grand Space Opera challenge. Super, super cool. And so like I'm going through, this is the sketch that I did, and then I'm just going to go through and kind of take him into the third realm. I'm not even going to say dimension. It sounds cooler to say realm. I ignored your message. I didn't ignore your messages. I talked to you because you had asked me about commissions and you know, possibly doing like illustrations for a children's book, and I told you I don't really do commissions. Did you miss my message? Did you miss my talking about that? A bit of Thor lingo there. Okay. Which category am I participating in? I am in the, what's it called? It's Forrest Gump. I'm gonna have to check that out. Let's see, my profile, challenges. It's this one. It's the film TV character from an alien world. And it's like going through and you know, a lot of people are going to go through and do like more alienoid type characters. I want mine to be more humanoid. I feel like, you know, characters on an alien world don't necessarily have to be you know, super foreign in the way that they look. You know, they can look like us. Yeah, see, this one's got kind of a cool space gal vibe to it. Yeah, there's some really, really cool pieces. This where did it go? Oh, this one right here. This one's super cool. This one's super cool. This one's super slick. I don't like the hands, but I love the head. My mama always said there's a heaven above us. I want to give that a like. Very cool. Yeah, I like this one. This looks really nice. I love the way that they did Jenny's hair. Way to go, Giovanni. And you totally got the Tom Hanks likeness too. But yeah, I love this guy. I love how he's coming along. I think that he feels super cool. The style to the face and everything. It's super, super cool. Ellie Dupont. This looks gorgeous. This is so cool. Oh, that's gonna be like super killer. Yeah, that's gonna do really well in the competition. Yeah, and then I love that head. I think that head looks super cool. Crazy business. But yeah, so I don't know how well stylized characters fit into the competition. I don't know what the judges are going to connect with or what they're going to find more appealing, but I don't know. It's what I feel like I connect better with and what I feel like I'm most interested in. So let me see. Let's do something like this. Trying to decide if I like it like that or not. So I'm really just trying to play around with these boots. Trying to get different. In fact, might even just need to kind of take the front end. Let's grab. Give it a little bit more length there. Let's even that out some. I'll have to even that out a little bit better, later, but for blocking purposes, that's all right. And you know what? Let's take this. Let's kind of boost it up a little bit. Let's say mask, edge loop partial. Alright. So far, I think that's working a little bit better. Shape-wise and everything. We play with it. Sometimes I look up at the moon. Yeah. Oh, it's been such a long time since I've seen Forrest Gump. I'll have to... My wife loves that movie, so I'll have to watch it with her sometime. You'd be so proud, Jenny. Okay, I've got an idea. I was trying this one exercise of sculpting. Sculpting a cube from a sphere with only 2 brushes, clay buildup and clay tubes, without using move or smooth. Pretty challenging. I could believe that. Making a cube from a sphere. Why would you why would you do that to yourself? Let's do something like that. It's one of the things that Geo taught, huh? Oh my goodness, I can no longer believe Geo has anybody's best interest at heart. Geo's actually a good buddy of mine. Keep polygroup. Oops. Just kind of smooth it a little bit so that it gets a little bit of bowing, but not a ton, because the overall shape that I want needs to stay kind of clean. Hey, that's a nice rock. I was trying to make a cube but gave up. Yeah, okay, I get it. Yep. I'll have to ask him about that. Be like, wait, you're torturing people with make a cube out of a sphere assignment? Just kind of extrude those out. Just a smidgen. Pay it forward. I don't know if I could qualify that as paying it forward. Now, the thing that's supposed to try to help you understand, though, I believe, is just the way that controlling forms instead of letting the shape kind of control you. That's funny. So wait, who did you take the class from then, Quicks? Oops, not mask. I want to say insert. Let's get that in there so that it's got the same level of stuff. Laura Gallagher. I know that name. Laura Gallagher. She does a lot of Marvelous Designer, but she also does facial anatomy. Interesting. Yeah, that's the exact point of it. Let me see. I'm gonna make this so that it's got a loop kind of going up and around. I kind of also want to go through and start thinking about panels. So what I'm going to do, it's like you said, trying to control the brushes to do what you want. Yeah, it's all about making the tools do what you want rather than that's something that one of my professors always said is learn to control the software. Don't let yourself be controlled by the software. What was that? It sounded like it might have been my kids or something. Can't quite tell. But yeah, and I feel like that's a very good point. I feel like it's kind of driven a lot of my I guess a lot of my decisions. Don't be that guy. What brush do you use? Yeah, it's yeah. Let me see, so that's going to need to come down here. I'm going to say delete. I'm going to say, oops, insert. And I guess, yeah, I can leave that the way that is, I guess. Let's say collapse edge. Let's collapse that down, so that creates that flow that I'm wanting. Oops. Oops. Let me see, insert. Bridge that together. Yeah, come on. Just get this done the way that we'd done the other side. So we've got that same edge flow, and that'll come down. Go back until we get rid of this. Oh, there we go. That should be good. Delete that poly. Insert. Bridge. Insert. And bridge. Let's go ahead and use slide and just kind of pull that back. But yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, Gio's quite a genius. He's really good, and you know, if he says to do something, sure, I'll do it. Insert that. And then we just bridge the happiness out of it. You know what? Let me see. I'm going to need probably one more. At least one more. And I'm trying to decide if I want to put this point down here, like the 5-pointed star down here, or if I want to move it over somehow. Let's see. Yeah, let's just put in single edge loop here. Make our brush nice and small, and we'll just slide these points over. Insert that edge loop, pull this up. That should be a little bit better. Bridge that, please. Oh, great. Okay, there we go. So now it's starting to kind of look like a shoe. So when do you decide to use panel loops? I typically don't. Quite honestly, like if I feel like, there may be opportunities where I feel like panel loops are in order. I typically actually don't use them, and part of the reason is that I feel like it gives me more control to go through and just let's say collapse edge. It gives me more control to really just kind of model the pieces on. I know it sounds ridiculous to some people, but it's true. It's just helpful to me to be able to really control my edge flow and things like that. And so panel loops, you can go through and for instance, let's go through and use this specific piece as an example. Panel loops will work off of your groups, right? Or you can work it off of your groups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my edge loop, and then we can just say panel loops. You can see it goes through and controls it based off of your different pieces. It added thickness, it added separation, all sorts of things like that. So you can go through and do things like that and come away with something that's good and easy to control and whatever. I typically don't, though. Is it wrong to use poly groups or to use poly panel loops? No. It's just something different, and it's something that you have to make sure that you understand how to control it so that you can get the geometry to obey you the way that you want. If you're doing something conceptually, like I'll use it conceptually to kind of figure out what a model needs to look like. If I'm designing armor or if I'm designing a shoe, since I'm going through and actually modeling it out and have, I want to keep it simple. I mean, it's not really something that I feel like I need to over design and have tons of funky panels and things like that. But I do have things that I want to have, kind of feel like, Converse-esque sort of pieces, like covering the toe, or covering, I don't know, holding a logo, holding different things like that. And let's go through and just kind of smooth this out a little bit, and that'll help me understand where I need to how far out I need to smooth these points, bring these, slide them down a little bit further, slide that down a little bit further, make it line up better with the points on the bottom, because these points are more square. And then once I'm done lining up the bottom, I'll go ahead and I'll carry that alignment up the shoe further. Take that and just even it out some. Seen artists using it when they're just masking out shapes, assigning polygroups, using the panel loop. Yeah, it's a great tool. It's just, it's one of those things that's, to me, in my mind, mostly like a tool that's great for concepting. Let's go ahead and, I don't want it to go to that direction. I want it to go the other direction. Let's go ahead and say deformation mirror. Yeah, because it's just one of those tools like Z-Remesher that I feel like it's, it creates something useful, but really just for shape and form that that you still have to go through and clean up later if you really really want to use it. Um, so it really kind of just depends. It depends on what your end purpose is. It depends on what your goals are. Little things like that. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. We are going to duplicate this shoe, and I want to design like this side panel right here that goes over to about right here, and then kind of shoots down toward the ball of the foot there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use slice curve. Oh, other way. What this will allow me to do is to just maintain the structure, make sure that this is going all the way through nicely. And here, let's go ahead and say collapse this so that that's lined up nicely. And we can just say delete this edge here. Okay. I don't need these polygroups on the bottom. I don't need that right there. Say delete hidden. And then let's get rid of okay, for right now, let's do something like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and keep just this piece. Oops, how's it still connected? There we go. Okay. So let me see. I know I want to see this go down. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say delete hidden, Control Shift A, delete hidden. That way I'm just worried about working on this one little area. Okay. From here, I want this to come up quite a bit higher actually. So I'm going to try. I will definitely have to retopologize this quite a bit, but that's okay. This might be one of those things where it's like I just go ahead and use either use Z-Remesher or just strong hand it. So let's see, let's go ahead something like this. Extrude, snap to surface. Snap to surface. Turn on transparent so I can see. Yeah, this is kind of like how I prefer to do things, just because it allows me the opportunity to really control it. Yeah, it's a new feature that came out with the 2021 version of ZBrush. So helpful. Like, I cannot begin to explain to you how helpful that is. I'm going to say, let's say slide, bring this up. Let's go ahead and stitch to the midpoint. Oops. Slide. Yeah, let me see. Delete a poly. I am going to, I need to go through and kind of rework the topology of this piece so that it feels like it's got everything going in a grid going up and then everything going in a grid going down, which means that there's going to be a point in here where it needs to just transition. So right here, what I'm going to do is I am going to create 5-pointed star. Okay, so this is going to create this, let's go ahead and put in another edge loop here. We'll say bridge. Put that in, bridge that in. This way it'll kind of, we gotta kind of spread this out a little bit more. In fact, I'm thinking, let me see. Let me see. This section of it, I don't like that transition there. So I'm gonna have to go through and think about how I'm going to fit that in there. I'll probably actually delete this and kind of start a little bit fresher. Okay, let's do something like this. Bridge edges. And we'll go ahead and we'll insert. And then we'll stitch. I think just having it like that and then having this will be a little bit better. Okay. Looks like somebody has selected me for a survey. It's like, okay. Okay. Oops. Delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that. Okay, so this area, I'm just going to go ahead and say extrude, edge. Let's say snap to surface is great. Let's say move. Just to make sure that this is coming up nicely, we'll say extrude this out. Pull this down so that this is matching up into that valley. Snap those points up and in. The transition between sections, yeah, it's interesting. It can be kind of a pain sometimes, but it's one of those things that's it's so fun. I'm gonna kind of bring this down, kind of loop these things together, and that works just fine. Okay, let me see. So down here, what we want to do is we definitely want to make sure that this is coming across and meeting up here. But I want to make sure, let me see. Ooh, how do we do this one? We're going to have this one go something like this. Okay, and the reason why I want it to go like that, oh, shoot, stop. Stop. Stop it. Stop it. Give me the point. There we go. The reason why I want it to go like that is that this will help it to uphold like this corner down here at the bottom better. Oops. Didn't realize I had an extra point there. So let's go ahead and let's delete this edge here. And then what do we have? We have, let's move this up, move this up, move this up. We'll figure out what we do for the sole of the shoe here soon enough. Yeah, we'll just add in an extra loop here and that'll just bridge across. I may or may not get rid. Yeah, we'll keep the sections that we have. I think that that'll be helpful. Because I mean there are some sections of this portion of the shoe where it's like it's too stretched out, and so we just kind of want to even it out some. Make sure that it's got the resolution it needs to uphold the shapes that it's trying to make. Extrude edge. Kind of pull that up a little bit better. I gotta fix the curve of this piece. Pull this up. This is going to have some thickness. It's going to sit on top of the surface, so it's not really going to matter so much that it doesn't match up perfectly with the shoe. But one of the reasons why we want to have the resolution in here to match up with the shoe as much as possible is that when the shoe deforms, I want the piece to be able to follow along with it nicely. Otherwise, you get some weird mismatching in shapes, and it just gets to be a mess. So yeah, I've got that going on. Let's get that kind of evened out a bit through here. Man, I want ice cream so bad right now. That's so dumb. Because I don't have ice cream. Let's kind of space these out a little bit. You know what, I'll just say slide by brush radius and just kind of even it out this way. Yeah, so far I've only done like the torso down to the feet. Which is fine, but yeah, I do need to kind of start working on figuring out the hands. I do know I want them to be blockier. So yeah, that'll be fun, kind of going through and figuring out like the shape language for the hands. Just go ahead and make it all single polygroup. The inspiration behind this design, that's a good question. Really, not really anything. It's just some like shapes and a design that kind of came to my head. I mean, I wasn't even going to Yeah, let's go ahead and let's turn on dynamic subdivisions. I wasn't even going to enter the competition, but then I got this idea for the shape and I was like, you know what? I've got to do it. Ooh, that's a lot more than I was thinking it was going to be. That'll be good. Okay. So yeah, this way I can apply thickness without having to actually have thickness, you know. It's kind of fun. Yeah, and if anything, yeah, another piece to add to the portfolio, and it's something different, so that'll hopefully, hopefully stand out and show a breadth of skills. Yeah. Although I definitely am already seeing that I'll need to go through and kind of rethink proportions, and I'll probably have to do that like by, once I get the rest of the body in there, get the arms in there, so I can go through and really test out, say that, I like the size of the hands, like the length of the arms. And if the length of the arms match well with the head, then I can use those to kind of measure out the rest of the body and figure out, if the knees are down far enough, if the feet are big enough, different things like that. So yeah, we'll go ahead, we'll play with that. Turn on dynamic here. Just add some thickness. I want to have it on the inside though, so I'm going to turn the offset to -100, so that way it's instead of puffing out, it's only going to puff in. So turn off dynamic, you can see it's going in from that surface instead of coming out. We don't need it to have the smoothness to it though. It just needs to have a little bit of thickness so we can see it and understand kind of what's happening. I want to have something kind of similar to this on the other side as well. So what I'm going to do, okay, and I'm going to hope that this works well enough for me. I'm just going to hold control, click and drag it over to the other side. Okay, because it's enough the same shape that I can. And just kind of move it around and make it fit the shape. Turn off local symmetry. Drives me nuts. Okay, deformation. Mirror topology. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so mirror and weld. Let's go ahead and take this, lift this up just a tad. Cool. Make sure it looks good from underneath, which of course it doesn't yet. Alright. Cool. So far that's one piece. Love the new dynamic thickness, much easier to work on a single plane and then add the thickness when you're ready to commit. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it gives you just this perfect representation of what it's going to look like too. So it's it's really nice from that standpoint. Let me see, it's 2 o'clock now. I think maybe I'll go on this for maybe another half hour, but I am not 100% sure. I'm not super sure what I'm going to do to the side of these shoes. I think I want to go ahead and build. I'll have to do some sketch iterations to kind of figure out what I want to do. I do know that I like what I have going on so far with this piece. I'm just going to say crease PG, so that creases the outside border. You know me too well, Quicks. No, I've definitely got things I've got to do. Ooh. But yeah, I'm thinking about maybe taking these shoes and making them feel like they've got some sort of like jet propulsion technology to them or something. So like make it feel like they've got some sort of mechanical element or some sort of window. Let's do this. I've got an idea. Let's go ahead and do something like this. Yeah, so that'll kind of like block in that idea a little bit. Because like what'll be cool about that, yeah, so it'll have like different material. It'll have like some sort of you remember the piece that I did for the sculpt off this year, how it had like this it was this woman, steampunk woman, who had this mechanical arm, and it had like the cool glowy liquid inside of the canister. Let me see if I can pull it open because I can. Characters. So there's like the little canister down there. It's got like the glowing bit there. I wish I could have taken more time to I still want to go through and flush this character out, because it was a fun idea. I really like this first sculpt that I did, but it was obviously not fast enough to meet the 3-hour time limit. I think that gradually my idea improved in some ways. Like, I love the corset. I love the way that I was able to get the dress folds in there, things like that. But yeah, I don't like how some of the things kind of downgraded. Like the mask kind of had like this wavering, shape and everything. I don't know, it just wasn't quite the way that I'd wanted it. The hair kind of lost some of its appeal, certainly in the final piece. But yeah, I don't know. Lots of interesting things. I could go on and critique this thing all day, I'm sure. But it was a 3-hour speed sculpt that didn't do for me what I wanted it to do. That's just life. That's just life. You speed sculpt and then it's over. Ooh, yeah, I didn't even think about this. This guy's getting some funky thickness because of the, let's see, it's split hidden. Let's come down here. Dynamic will turn off thickness. Okay, so we've got this going on now. Control W, just so we can make sure that we have 2 different polygroups on this. And then what I want to do, I'm going to say Control Shift, let's say Control Shift D. Why not? On this piece, I want to say bevel, edge loop complete. And then I want to keep this. I'm going to say modify topology, delete hidden. Say extrude all polygons. Let's do this. Pull this in a little bit. Okay, so that can kind of be, that can kind of be the start of what we do with this piece. Maybe I'll leave that as like a nice thin little something or other for right now. Let me see what we can do. Let's come in and say, grab this, we'll say Control-Shift-D. Let's go to our list and we'll see what we can do with this. Let's go ahead, we'll just take this and we will say geometry, delete hidden. Oh, and let's turn off the thickness too. For now. You know what? Okay, so here's what I want to do. We are going to go like this. Okay, turn off solo mode. Modern day Jetsons. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they tried to do something. I mean, they're doing it with all the other like Hanna-Barbera cartoons. You know, they did it with Scooby-Doo. They did it with, I mean, they went through and did, oh my goodness, She-Ra. Tom and Jerry, like we talked about yesterday. Yeah, absolutely. So it's really kind of interesting to see the way that they are trying to take advantage, I guess, of reviving old markets. I think some of them have a lot of potential, but some of them I think it's just not worth reinventing for the sake of trying to get a few bucks. Go ahead and pull that up. Pull that up. Some of these points are going to have to move down a little bit. Let's go ahead and turn thickness back up, 0.02. In fact, what we might want to do is put 0.05. Oh no, it's not. Oh yeah, because because the offset is to -100, so let's kind of turn that so that is the other direction. 0.02. That's kind of interesting. We'll leave it at that for right now, because that could be kind of cool. The Flintstones. Oh, I hope they don't do a reboot of the Flintstones. I mean, they already did the live action reboot with Sully. Oh my goodness, what is the dude's name? I can't even think of his name right now. I forget. And it's funny too. John Goodman, thank you so much. I'm off duty. Yeah, John Goodman, good guy, good man. Okay, let me see these sneakers. I'm trying to decide. Currently, so my sketch has the has these pieces going down, which means that this would need to go down too. So I'll have to, yeah, kind of like that. Then I think what I want to do is maybe take this up a little bit, make it so it supersedes the rest of that edge there. Okay, and then this needs to come down further. I'll have to kind of like do a cleaner transition, because like if you look at this, I mean, this is not holding a nice clean flow at the moment, so I'm just going to kind of smooth it out some. Kind of pull it some, and we got to keep in mind these are not actual, like they don't have actual thickness, it's just generated thickness, so it's preview thickness, so we don't have to worry too much about what's happening at the edge and like accidentally smoothing it out when we didn't mean to and things like that. It's just going to stay nice and sharp and hold the thickness the way that it is, because that's how it's programmed. Okay, same thing on this side. Let's go ahead and clean this up some. Rick Moranis? Was Rick Moranis in that one? Oh, did he play the brother? Not Fred, but Barney? IMDb. Yeah, holy cow. That is so funny. And then Rosie O'Donnell, I forgot she was in that too. Kyle MacLachlan. Can't remember who that is. Halle Berry, Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor was in that? Huh. Interesting. I can't think of who this guy is. I don't know. Okay, just kind of space this out. Now, I mean, something that I could do is I could just delete edges and then smooth out fewer edges and then add edges back in. I do that quite a lot. Right now, I feel like I'm just kind of in the mood for doing it this way. I'm kind of torturing myself a bit too much, possibly, but whatever. I don't feel like I really mind it at the moment, so. About another 15 minutes or so, and then I'll call it a day. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And I'm thinking, ooh. Okay, so before I lose the idea, let me see. Control Shift D. Two, three, four. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Control W, modify topology, delete hidden. And then we'll go over to the dynamic. We'll change the offset to the positive. And then right in here, what I want to do for right now, let me see. Let's change this. Let's just kind of push it in the bottom so that it's going into the sole of the shoe just a little bit. Okay, so we're going to have something like that, but then instead of just being this, it's going to have some sort of like elastic strap going around the back so that you know, his foot can slip in and out. I've never seen Spaceballs before. My wife said that it's one of the movies that her cousin loved watching when they were growing up, but it's not a film I ever watched. I loved Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Let's turn off that smoothness. Let's turn on thickness to 0.02. Let's put the offset in the negative. Okay, so this way we're getting kind of like this sort of shape. I'm trying to decide. Yeah, in fact, let's take the tongue of the shoe and just kind of like pull it out some so that it feels more like it's, you know, like it gets pushed on a lot, and like he's, you know, like it's a flexible material like cloth and it's just been worn in and whatnot. Let me see. Something like that for right now. Yeah, there are a lot of like funny little things happening with the boots, but they'll come together. Cancel. Okay, let me see. Control Shift D. Oh, let's see. He's got a few bugs to worry about. I won't worry about the treads or anything like that right now, but let's go into the dynamics. Let's take thickness off. We have critical mass. Okay. That'll be kind of cool for just holding that shape, and then we'll add tread into it or something like that. We'll see. Okay, so for this, what I want to do, I want to have 2 straps. And I think what I want, I'm like duplicating things all over the place. Modify topology, delete hidden. Okay, let me see. Let's come down here over to deformation, and we will say inflate. Just until it starts coming out right there. Way it's going in a good direction. Let's go ahead and say control, click and drag to bring this up a little bit. I think I'll probably end up playing with shape and relationships here a lot with these boots. Because I think I want to play with making the boots a lot thinner, but that'll definitely be something for another day, I think. The pants, I think I want to play with making it so that they have, let's kind of block it in, I guess, since we're here. Got a few minutes. Let's kind of take that like that. We'll maybe put in an extra loop there, and then we'll say scale, edge loop partial, other direction. How is your food? We'll just kind of pull this in so it looks like, you know, the pants are kind of filling in the boots a little bit. Could be kind of cool. Kind of extend this out some. I feel like it might be just a smidgen too thin, so we'll just kind of play with that a little bit. Maybe pull the glutes back just a bit, and then pull the thighs just up a little bit. You know, just kind of cozy that shape on out. Okay, that's starting to feel a little bit more like what I think I want to get. Sushi, yum. What kind of sushi did you have? The other couple weeks ago, we went and we had sushi. We got I mean, California rolls. You can never go wrong with California rolls, and those were really good the way that this place made them. It was a total splurge thing for us, but it was so good. And then there's this other kind. I don't know what it was that they had in it. I don't know if they had put salmon or if it was like some sort of eel or something like that, but it was all right. I mean, it wasn't nearly as good as the California rolls. I love California rolls, and then taking a little bit of the ginger slices, putting that on top, and then taking a teeny tiny bit of the wasabi and putting that on top, and just flavor is beautiful. So good. It's so good. Yeah, this guy's starting to become more what I envisioned, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and take this piece here, draw that out there. Draw that out there. Draw that out there. That's a little bit too close. Draw it out there. It's actually like way too chunky for what I want. And it looks like he stepped in the Fruit Loops box and it just got stuck. Now that's interesting. I wonder. Oh, it's because of the thickness thing. That's right. That's right. Okay, let's do it from here then. It's like it's giving me this thickness, and it's like I don't want the thickness. What am I gonna do? What am I doing wrong? Subtool, split unmasked. I'm gonna call these eyelets or whatever they're called. And then, yeah, just kind of make sure it's positioned nicely. Oh, look at that. Never mind, we're just going to want to get rid of that one entirely. Let's change the Z intensity back up to 100. That's better. Now, to be able to make it so that they end up the same size, I'm starting to click out and drag, and then I hold Control, and it just snaps to the size of the brush. So that's like stupid helpful. A little bit lower, it looks like. Now, one of the things I could do is I could turn this into a curve brush and then just kind of drag it out along the surface. Sometimes you get some issues with that, and so I'm just doing it manually. In fact, that looks like that needs to be spaced out better. Let me do this. We'll do, oops. So you just drag out, hold Control, and snaps. Oh, it's a little bit too far from the edge. Don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the edge. Let's go ahead, geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Let's go ahead and drag this and just kind of cozy them out a little bit. Make sure that their spacing feels about right for what I need, right? Something like that for right now. And then for the other side, we can just go ahead and drag it on over the other side. But we're going to worry about the about the other primitives first. Let's get our brush size back up to what it was. Something maybe slightly larger. No. To 27, so let's say 25. That looks good. Okay. Oh, and I've got an idea here. Let's go ahead and take this. Okay. Okay, so this is where we're going to go ahead and duplicate it. So we're just, wow, how about that? Huh. I hate it when it does that. Mirror and weld. It's one of those things that I have no idea why that happens. But it does. see. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We are going to say delete hidden, just so that I can go ahead and place my points. Then I'll mirror and weld, and that'll be a little bit easier. Just a matter of finding the path of least resistance. Hey dude, how you doing, Spicer? Let me see. What would you say is the biggest difference between 3D art for games and 3D art for animation? A lot of times there will be a difference in topology. So one of the things that I know that when I was working at Warner Brothers Games, there would be a lot of things that we would leave out, or ways that we would combine assets into the same model that you wouldn't do if you were putting it into animation. You know, like in animation, you want to have models kind of simulate, like clothing simulate against the body. You don't necessarily want to have to rig the clothes to be exactly how they need to deform when the body's underneath it. You know. Whereas in games, you have to be, you kind of have to cut out what you don't see because of processing issues and not having enough power in the gaming system itself to be able to handle all the polygons, all the extra polygons. So if you don't need to see, like if you don't ever see it, you don't need to include it. Whereas with animation, like for film or for animated cartoons, things like that, most often you will have the full character, and then you'll have the clothing built on top of it, and even just the way that the structure, the topology goes, similar sort of idea. There will be other structures of topology used. With a gaming asset, you'll have really whatever you need to do to be able to just get the shape and cut back on polys as much as possible. Whereas with film and animation, you can be a little bit more liberal with your polygon count and things like that. So there's really kind of a lot of part of this. I'm gonna have to try that. That sounds good. But yeah, there's some just interesting differences and challenges in each. And if you want to be able to observe some of those differences, I would recommend looking online at like different portfolios, people who work in the industry. You could look at just look at big name people. You could go through like your favorite games, your favorite films, and kind of see the people who work on the different teams, and kind of compare the differences for the two of them. It's really kind of a neat thing to be able to do. But yeah. Sensei Spicer, what about your stream? Yeah, Spicer, what about your stream? You should be putting in some hours. We need that. Okay, let me see. So these pieces, I want them to be a little bit thicker. I don't want them to be super thick, but I do want them to be a little bit thicker. Did I just hear somebody on the Discord? It's okay if nobody's jumping in on the Discord. It's totally fine. I'll be jumping off soon enough, but yeah. Something like that. Take that, move it in, move it in, move it in. Yeah, so it's just a kind of a matter of making it feel more flush with the surface. Everybody's putting the pressure on you now. It's getting real. Five more hours. No, I've gotta head out soon. It's just kind of my time. My time has come, my little friends, to talk of other things. Okay. I'll have to put in like laces and things like that at some other time. He's starting to come on. And then we've got the straps kind of started back here. I mean, they do need to come over here and they'll latch on on the outside here. So it'll be kind of like a double, kind of a double tie-in system for his shoes. You need to section off that bit of explanation, get it edited or something. I'm lost. I'm lost. But yeah, anyway, so that's kind of like where that's at now. Got some shoes blocked in a little bit. Got the rest of the character kind of coming along. We do still need to go through and worry about arms. I'm trying to think about whether or not I want to do some sort of mechanical limbs or if I want to do, you know, and he needs pockets and all sorts of cool things, you know. So lots of things got to be putting these things in. But yeah, anyway, that'll be kind of where I leave that for right now. Let's go ahead and save that because that's what we do. And now we're good to go. So yeah, all right. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out for a little while. I always appreciate having people around to kind of chat with. But yeah.